And welcome, ladies and gentlemen, into Hoopsville Courtside. I am Dave McHugh, joined by Gordon Mann. That's Gordon Mann. I'm Dave McHugh. Welcome in. We are courtside here at Salem, getting ready for the Final Four. Apparently, we can't hear ourselves, we'll figure that out later. But Gordon, obviously, we're welcome to court. You've only been to Salem a handful of times. So let's welcome you back.
Just my second time for basketball, a couple of times for football, but not in a little while.
Yeah, just a little bit of time since we've seen you. But got to admit, it's nice to have you here. Curiosity, you just drove in today. What have you been most excited about for this event, though? I mean, this one's kind of a little bit of an interesting Final Four this year.
Yeah, I think I'm most excited. I think the matchups are both compelling. I think you've got the team that was ranked for number one for most of the season playing the team that's number one ranked now. And then you've got two teams that were unranked but from heralded programs that have been around a long time. I look forward to the matchup tomorrow when you're going to have a highly ranked team against an unranked team.
We have no other way of having that.
Yeah, we're going to get a chance to watch guys who we followed throughout the year face off against each other in kind of interesting matchups. Tim Howell and Joey Flannery in the first game, and then you're going to get Krishan Orange and Daniel Aronowitz in the second game. So if you follow Division III basketball a lot throughout the year, these are matchups you don't see. You've got cross country, and Augustana is not on the West Coast, but it's basically on the West Coast of Division III because we don't get too much farther west than Iowa for the most part. So I'm very excited for the matchups. I think the people will be excited to be here. Whitman's already got a little bit of a crowd building out there, so I'm very much looking forward to the games.
We should point out on this show we'll have a ton of content. I talked to each student athlete from each team. We'll hear all of them in this pregame show. Can't fit them into the in-between games. We'll hear from the two coaches leading up to the Babson Whitman game here, and then in our second pregame show we'll hear from Coach Giovanni and Coach App from Augustana and Williams respectively. So that's all coming up, and you can interact with us online and social media stuff. One thing I found interesting, Gordon, was I was thinking about this week, and especially hit me today. It's essentially one conference championship game completely changed the look of this bracket and thus the look of Salem. If Babson beats MIT, they're in Middlebury's spot. And Middlebury's in Babson's spot in this tournament. And so we do not have Whitman versus Babson in semifinal number one.
Right.
And more interestingly enough, I don't know if Williams gets here. That lower left becomes a wide open bracket a little bit because Middlebury, does Christopher Newport, what else? Can Williams get past Babson? So you might not even have Williams here. And you have this completely different take that you might have 1 and 3 still looking to come to the title. All because Babson couldn't win that title game and slipped to number 2 in the regional rankings.
Well, I think it's a fitting matchup, too, of you're going to have an unranked team against a highly ranked team, and you know from voting in the poll throughout the year that's kind of a perfect encapsulation of the season. There are teams like Babson, like Whitman, who've been ranked in the top 10 and have there's only one direction for them to go for the most part, and that's up. And then you've had a lot of programs who have floated in and out of the top 25. Cream tends to rise to the top, so I think with Augustana and Williams, you see those programs with deep history and deep benches and deep tradition come to the forefront. But it's fitting that we're going to have, in a year where it's been very, very hard to know. It's been easy to know who the top 5 to 10 are. Yeah. It's been very hard to know who the next tier are.
Absolutely.
And it's fitting that it was a next tier team against a top team that sort of messed everything up, and you're going to get a next-tier team against a top team for the championship. Yeah,
and you kind of – Augustana Williams, two of those teams, especially in the last half of the season, you're sitting there going, do I put them in? Do I not put them in? Okay, they're in. Oh, now I got to take them out.
Right.
And a lot of confusion. And also two teams who almost backed into the tournament. Yep. Neither of them had strong finishes. Augustana lost 4 of their last 6, I want to think.
Yep.
Williams, if not a run in the NESTAC tournament, probably isn't even in this tournament to begin with.
Right, yeah, and they're from the two of the 4 or 5, depending on how you want to count it, power conferences in the country, too. So CCIW for Augustana and NESCAC for Williams. You could toss a couple in there, but if you go with those two, they're 1 and 2 in some direction, right? So Augustana comes in, they lose 3 games, win their first in the conference tournament, and then lose in the final to North Central. That's a really tough conference. Williams comes in, loses in the conference final to Middlebury. Right. But Williams is 5-5 in conference, 6th place.
Yeah.
So, it's a testament to the depths of those conferences. And, I think a little bit of testament to the depth of Division III this year. Williams didn't pick up all their losses in conference.
Right.
Augustana didn't pick up all their losses, most of them, but I'm not sure they picked up all of them in conference.
Well, they started conference 8-1.
Right.
I mean, and that's the other thing, Gordon. This is two teams that were supposed to still be, in Williams' case, still be retooling.
Right.
And in Augustana's case, completely retooling. I
Right.
mean, they lost 8 seniors in their 6 top scorers. These guys who are starting were barely playing last year.
Right.
Krishan Orange was getting about 15 to 20 minutes a game, but he's about the only one. And Williams, no one had high expectations.
Yeah.
This is a team that got decimated after their run to here, Salem, back
Right.
in, what was it, 2014?
3 years ago.
Yeah, something like that. Duncan Robinson left, their coach left. They lost some great seniors.
Right.
Kevin App takes over, and it's kind of a rebuild. I think they expected them to be competitive this year, but not this competitive. So it's a really interesting dynamic in that game.
Yeah, it's and you know it's the programs. I think it's the depth of people see things in the top 25 early in the year. They go, well, why is that team in there? Why is that team? History matters. It doesn't always matter year to year, but history matters over time. These programs don't get to win 3 conference titles, 2 national championships, and just fade away. That doesn't happen doesn't really happen in any level of college basketball, but it doesn't happen at the Division III level. So I think you have a matchup of 2 programs, and 2 programs who the last time they were here didn't really get a happy ending. So
That's
Augustana 2 years ago, not a lot of guys left from that team, but
No.
Jacob Johnston was on that team, their main senior contributor. They lost to Stevens Point in the final. Williams, the last time they were here, they lost in the semifinals.
No, lost in the championship.
I'm sorry, they lost in the
Yeah,
championship game by 2 to Whitewater. So a chance for the people who are still around to kind of rewrite those endings and have a little different times. Johnston for Augustana, Aronowitz and Greenman for Williams, and they had a chance if their practice got over just early enough to go and catch the end of the Michigan game and watch Duncan Robinson make the free throws down the stretch for Michigan.
Well, and interesting enough, Babson, last time they were here, lost to Augustana, who then lost to Stevens Point in the championship. And Whitman has never been here.
Right.
Stanislaus State, I can't say it right, was the last
Stanislaus
State. The last time a West Coast team got here
that's
35
really,
years ago, and they're
really
not
West
even
Coast.
D3 anymore.
Right, yeah.
And so Whitman, I mean, that's the whole other ballgame there.
Yeah. And you have Babson, who, if you look at the features on D3Hoops.com, I think that really shines through. Babson's very businesslike. All the pieces are in order. Take it one game at a time. We've been here before. Finish what we started. Whitman's having fun.
Yeah.
They have a photo on I'm not sure it's on the front page anymore, but a photo of them embracing and hugging and posing with the sectional championship trophy, which everybody gets, but if you're looking at that photo in a vacuum, you say, "Oh, did they already win the title?" Some people may even, the old Calder, the old Calder Cup thing, where they push it away, or the President's Trophy. They're having fun, and they're undefeated, and they're number 1 in the country. And I think it will be interesting in matchup to see, again, 2 of the best players in Division III, very different styles, and I don't know that Howell won't be covering Flannery unless something goes dramatically wrong for Whitman. But it'll be interesting to see those 2 types of players. It'll be interesting for Babson to see how much the players around Flannery really have grown. So he's a multi-time All-American. He was the National Rookie of the Year. No spoiler alert. He'll be a first or second team All-American this year. But the story has been there's more than Flannery. There's Cummindale, it's Isaiah Nelson, it's these other guys. Tonight we're going to find out, because Whitman has a very deep team. Howell is very good. Hewitt's good. Harrison's good. JoJo Wiggins is good. If Babson really is more than Flannery, tonight we'll see it.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, he's Gordon, man. I'm Dave McHugh. We got a lot of content ahead of us, stuff that we got ahead of time, too. So we're going to go to a lot of that. We're going to hear from each of the student athletes from each of the teams. And later on in the show, we're also going to hear from at least the 2 first coaches we'll take on. It will be Steve Brennan from Babson and Eric Bridgeland from Whitman. Also ahead, Carrie Harvey-Cutter will talk to us about some of the changes they've done. You might see one over our shoulder. Not yet. It's there. You might not notice it. You'll notice it later when it lights up a little bit. Talk about some of the other changes, and maybe they're hopeful or concerned about whether the championships stay here when a decision comes out in April. That's still ahead. Plus more. Ryan Scott will join us. We'll talk about some of the intricacies of the teams here as well. There's a lot still ahead. We'll even get a final breakdown, as it were, from a couple coaches looking at these 2 teams. That's all still ahead here. We hope you enjoy it. We are calling the games from Salem Civic Center. We'll be back with more. We'll start off with our student interviews, and we start with Joey Flannery from Babson after this break.
Defining moments. Championship dreams. Share the experience with your family and friends. The 2017 NCAA Division III Men's Basketball Championship, March 17th and 18th at the Salem Civic Center in Salem, Virginia. Visit ncaa.com/tickets for your tickets today.
I did receive a non-athletic scholarship upon entering school.
I got the presidential scholarship, which was huge for me.
I think there's more opportunities for academic scholarships in Division III.
I did receive academic scholarships. Just being involved on campus, being a leader, all those things combined kind of get me recognized. It's a great experience for me.
When George Fox University was founded in 1891, its creators envisioned two things: a challenging educational experience and a community where students could deepen their faith. 125 years later, the core of who we are remains unchanged, and our focus on the whole person, our Be Known promise, remains as vibrant and relevant today as it was back then. At George Fox University, you'll never be a number. You will be known.
Great moments are born from great opportunity. That's what you have here tonight. That's what you've earned here tonight. This is your time. Now go out there and take it.
My name is Marcus Walker. I was All-State, won a state championship, a high school All-American, and played college and pro ball. I played because I love the game. I grind to be the best. I sweat because I put in work. I'm strong because I believe. When I want to bring it before game time, I come to the house that college basketball built, the CBE. No matter your skill, take it to another level. Elevate your game right here at the College Basketball Experience at Sprint Center.
I used to never really talk. Ever. I was afraid if I said something wrong, everyone would laugh at me. But then I started to play golf with Special Olympics. It helped me to find my voice. And now everyone else is speechless.
Welcome back to the Hoopsville Courtside pregame show. Obviously, we're not courtside, taping things here as we're talking to student athletes, a part of the semifinals. And I'm now joined by Joey Flannery. Guard, maybe forward, you could certainly discuss it for Babson. And first and foremost, congratulations on making it back here.
Thanks, Dave. Appreciate it.
Second time in 3 years. I know you guys would love to have been here all 3 years, but what does it mean to get back here the second time?
It's a great honor. I mean, I think everyone's goal in D3 to get to Salem every year. And to be here twice in 3 years is great. 2 years ago didn't end up how we would have liked, but that's how things go. Last year we thought a little early exit in the Sweet 16, but we're back hopefully to take care of business this time.
Last year you were a little bit banged up at the end of the season. It certainly affected the tournament run. How much was that motivation for you going into this year?
Yeah, I took the spring to recover and do what I could. Worked really hard, rehab stuff, and I knew it was one season left, so I definitely took that on my chin as motivation, and grinded as hard as I could to get back to where I need to be for the start of the season, and enabled us to make this run.
What's the focus been? You guys have been in the top conversation the entire season, whether you're not number one, you're 2 or 3. Eyes on you when you played Amherst, obviously. Eyes on you throughout the entire conference season. What's the spotlight felt like from your point of view?
Honestly, we don't put too much pressure on ourselves. I feel like we're a pretty loose group. Kind of wacky at points, but we know we've scored the ball well all year, and it's really just been defensively. We just want to know that, or we want to go out there and defend to our ability, and we try to think that the offense is going to take care of itself. So defensively, coming in there with a mindset to get stops and enable us to run and get out in the break a little bit, which I think is when we're at our best.
You've trailed, I think, 8 times this season at halftime. 3 of them, interesting enough, to MIT. I'm sure you're glad you didn't run into them in the tournament. But what's it been about the first half versus the second half of games from your guys' point of view that's been so different?
It seems like my whole career here at Babson, we've been trailing at half. And, it's not, I wouldn't say it's a spot we're comfortable in, but, we've been used to it a little bit. Even dating back to the sophomore year, the year run we had, I think we trailed in every NCAA tournament game. So, with our senior leadership, we got a group of seniors who are able to keep the morale high in the locker room at halftime, and keep everyone positive. And I think, whether we're a second half team or not, we can buckle down and get stops when we need to. And luckily in the second half, we've been pretty good on the defensive end to enable us to come back from some of those deficits.
The game against Amherst way back in December, but still prevalent in the sense that double overtime, you guys lose just barely. Really only one of 2 losses you have on the season. How much is the spotlight of that game and the intensity of that game something you can fall back on now, or is that so far in the past that it's not relevant anymore?
I think it's definitely something where, you gain some experience from it, double overtime loss away on the road in a big crowd. But, our team is so different from then. We have 2 different guys starting right now. But it's so different. You do learn some things, but it almost feels like last year at this point.
When you face this Whitman squad, big game, obviously, number 1 team in the country, taking over the mantle from you guys at the end of the season. Obviously, they're a very different team from what you guys have experienced. What have you seen so far that you hope to take advantage of? What do you have to be careful of when you watch this team?
The first thing I think is you got to be careful of their press. I mean, they're throwing that press at you the whole game, and you got to stay composed. They got some good athletes. And, they get up in you on defense in the half court, and they got some weapons defensively, or offensively, I should say. Howell's a jet going to the rim. But, I think if we do what we do, we stay composed, we'll be all right.
Anybody you've seen this season that when you watch tape of Whitman, you can go, okay, you know what, they remind me of so-and-so, or they do that like so-and-so, or is this a completely different squad?
They're different. There's some similarities. We haven't really seen a team press like this, but I feel like we got a group of guys that, handle that stuff well. Defensively, they get up in the passing lanes. It kind of reminds me of how WPI plays. Physical up in the passing lanes, like to deny in the half court. I think we have some size matchups that we can take advantage of. But, every team's different. I wouldn't say that this team's jumped out as, we've seen this team. But, we've done the work in the past week or so, and got a bunch of guys who've paid attention to them all year, honestly. So I think we just got to do what we do, play our game.
What's the difference between the visit 2 years ago with this team and this year? What's the difference you guys have mentally? What's the different attitude-wise?
We got a handful of guys that played in that game, and I think we may have been caught up in the lights. Maybe a bit happy to be here as opposed to buckled down ready to win, but. I don't think we're fazed by the lights and cameras and, the big stadium here. So I think this crew is all business, ready to go.
Very good. Well, good luck against Whitman. We appreciate you taking the time. He's Joey Flannery from Babson. When we come back, we get ready for game number 2 with the student athletes coming up, Augustana and Williams. You're watching the Hoopsville Courtside show from the Salem Civic Center. Back after this.
College basketball lives in Kansas City at the College Basketball Experience at Sprint Center. The College Basketball Experience is the place to get your game on. It's not a museum, it's an experience you won't forget. Discover the history of the game in the National Collegiate Basketball Hall of Fame, featuring the Gallery of Honor, Mentors Circle, and Honor Theater. Suit up in the latest CBE logoed Nike gear at the CBE Hoop Shop. Elevate your game today and visit the house that college basketball built.
It's on us to stop sexual assault
in any way that we can.
To get a friend home safe.
To never blame the victim.
It's on us.
To stand up.
To make our community safe for all.
It's on us.
It's on us to look out for each other at parties.
It's on us.
To be more than just a bystander.
To step up and say something.
It's on us. All of us.
To stop sexual assault.
Learn how and take the pledge at itsonus.org.
It starts right when you hit the court. You imagine your finest moment. The game-winning shot that gets you to the dance. A monster dunk or no-look pass. And cutting down the net. Sports lets us dream of our own success. And prepare us for our finest moments on and off the court.
At George Fox University, our promise is that every student will be known, personally, academically, and spiritually. To be known means professors and staff know you by name. It means you're valued, encouraged, and challenged. It means we'll listen to you and with you as you pursue God's call in your life. At George Fox University, you will never be a number. You will be known. Visit georgefox.edu to learn more.
I used to never really talk. Ever. I was afraid if I said something wrong, everyone would laugh at me. But then I started to play golf with Special Olympics. It helped me to find my voice. And now everyone else is speechless.
Defining moments. Championship dreams. Share the experience with your family and friends. The 2017 NCAA Division III Men's Basketball Championship, March 17th and 18th at the Salem Civic Center in Salem, Virginia. Visit ncaa.com/tickets for your tickets today.
Welcome back to Hoopsville Courtside from Salem. Obviously not courtside right now. We're getting a chance to talk to the student athletes involved in this game, one from each team. We're starting with Whitman. Not for any other reason than they're number one, but they're also considered their own team for this game. So I'm now joined by sophomore Jack Stewart. And first and foremost, congratulations on making it to Salem. I know this has been a big goal, not only for you guys, but for the entire Northwest Conference. What's it like to be the first one to break through?
Really exciting. First time for a West Coast team in like 35 years or something like that, which is crazy. We're just here enjoying it right now, so I'm sure we're going to think back in the next couple of weeks after this and really see what this means to us. But we're just having fun and really excited to be here.
We should mention you guys played in southeastern Ohio at Marietta last weekend in the sectionals. The original plan was to head home, and then I think someone went, wait, that wouldn't make any sense. You guys have been on the East Coast, and if I have it right, you've been in Roanoke ever since, correct?
Correct, yeah. So we, Sunday, we drove down from Marietta, drove to Roanoke, just been in the hotel where we stayed at for the Final Four. So we've been getting accustomed to East Coast time. We're all on East Coast time now.
I was going to say, there's no excuse now, right?
No excuse. It's a lot easier than going back to Walla Walla, getting back to Pacific time, then flying all the way back here, having to readjust.
Or trying to stick on either of those times.
Exactly.
All the time.
So it's a lot easier, and we're all having fun.
I suspect then a lot of laundry. I don't think you guys packed for 10 days.
No, we had to go actually do laundry, all of us of the team. That was a lot of laundry that needed to be done, but that was good.
Obviously, it's big to get through last weekend. You guys had two tough matches with Hardin Simmons and a really tough battle with Rochester. Now you got the number 3 team in the country, who was the number 1 team in the country. How have you guys been preparing for this? I mean, you basically have been going through a bit of a gauntlet here. Are you comfortable? How's the mental side of this whole thing?
Yeah, we're comfortable. We know watched a little bit of film on Babson. They're an excellent team. We're going to be a very tough game, but like you said, we've been through very tough games in the past. We're ready. We're treating this game like another game, so same preparation, same practice style and stuff like that. So we're definitely ready, though.
What do you see in Babson on tape that you think you can take advantage of, or you guys are comfortable with? Is there anything about this team that you've seen before in any of your opponents?
They're a very, very tough team. Like I said, got a lot of skilled players on the team, so it's going to be a tough matchup, but we definitely like our guard play. Like, we have some of the best guards, I feel like, in the country, so we definitely rely on them, and they're very, very key for us, and that's awesome, and I'm excited about that. So.
One of 5 players in double figures for this team. You've scored over nearly 92 points a game, actually. But you guys are stingy and aggressive on defense. That 2-2-1 full court is a thing of beauty or a thing of nightmares, depending on who you're talking to. But on that token, what do you take more pride in? Do you take the pride in the defense or this absolute high-octane offense?
Definitely the defense. The defense leads to a lot of our offense, and so if we can buckle down and get our defensive stops, that's what allows us to get this high-octane offense, like you said, going and scoring a lot of points. So it's definitely, we focus on defense, like to shut teams down and turn the ball over and get those easy buckets.
You guys will fly all over the floor. Your hands are all over the passing lanes, and you're even diving into the ground as much as you guys can. Is there a bit of a beat yourself up happen out of that? Do you guys get bruised and battered, and at this point in the season you're a little bit worn out, or is it something that you're so used to at this point that it's just kind of water off your back.
Yeah, like there's always those little bruises that you'll get from getting on the floor, but we're definitely used to it. We practice extremely hard, so we're used to getting knocked around a little bit, and so we're definitely used to it. It's not anything that we're not capable of dealing with.
When you guys haven't been home, so you really haven't been able to have the crush of the spotlight. Granted, it's spring break too, so it's not like a lot of people would have been on campus, but who have you heard from, and what have been the reactions from the campus or the community for what you guys have done here? Extreme amount of support has just been coming in from everywhere that we've talked to, been to. The community at Walla Walla is fully behind us. They send us messages on Facebook, texts, emails, even from teachers at Whitman College. So we are definitely feeling all the support back home, and we know that they'll be watching and supporting us here. That's pretty awesome. Before I let you go, you as a person in the game, what do you hope you can, what are you going to be more proud of? You hitting a big shot, maybe getting a defensive stop, or just, making sure you do your role and not maybe be the spotlight? Yeah, I don't feel like I need to be in the spotlight. I'm here to do whatever the team needs me to do to win. So whatever that is, that could be hitting a big shot, that could just being shutting down one offender on the other team. It could be getting a rebound, a defensive stop, whatever that is. I'm extremely proud to do that. So, kind of curious. You're a sophomore. You're kind of with this program as they have evolved. Last year you guys broke on the national scene. Not that a lot of us knew about you, but really broke out in the national scene. Made the NCAA tournament. Made the second weekend. You're not used to anything else but that. Whereas you have some upperclassmen that hadn't been able to do that, had been kind of in the background waving. What's the dynamic, and what's your point of view on this entire experience when you haven't experienced anything else but this? Yeah, so our whole team is pretty young, and we've all kind of experienced this together, and we all know this as we're a winning program, and this is our expectation, and we all have these really high goals. And so everybody, even the upperclassmen who a couple years before might not have experienced it, they're still being our leaders. They still know what to do, and we still are able to follow them and guide us. Everyone says the road to Salem is what you want to do. You want to get to Salem. You've gotten to Salem. We're talking to you after your first practice in the building. What's it like? Is it everything everyone makes it out to be? It's awesome. It's actually really cool. Like, never would have thought that I'd be playing in the Final Four as a young kid, so that's always awesome. Salem's been great. The hotel, everybody here has been great. They're all excited to witness the Final Four, which is amazing. So we're all really, really excited. You know how many fans are coming? Do you guys expect a good crowd? It's a tough trip. It's a tough trip, but I know a good amount of family and friends from the rest of our teammates are all coming, so awesome. It should be good. Awesome. Well, he's Jack Stewart. He plays for Whitman. When we come back, we'll talk to Joey Flannery, who'll be on the other side of the court for Babson. Figure out what he thinks of this team. Whitman's undefeated. Can they stay that way? We'll find out later. You're watching the Hoopsville Courtside Show from Salem. Back with more after this.
Defining moments. Championship dreams. Share the experience with your family and friends. The 2017 NCAA Division III Men's Basketball Championship, March 17th and 18th at the Salem Civic Center in Salem, Virginia. Visit ncaa.com/tickets for your tickets today.
I'm a Division III student athlete, and I know how powerful words can be. The term gay doesn't mean stupid, lame, or less than.
So I pledge to speak up if I hear the term gay used in a derogatory way or any other homophobic terms.
If you can play in Division III.
I'm a Division III student athlete, and my teammates unconditionally accepted me as part of their family. So now I pledge to do the same for others. If you can play in Division III.
Division III allows you to give yourself to other things.
Having that free time allows me to pursue the things that I want to pursue.
Division III athletics affords students the opportunity to, engage in the other interests in their campus and in their lives outside of that sport.
It allows you to just be able to do everything you want to do. I wouldn't change it for the world.
I used to never really talk, ever. I was afraid if I said something wrong, everyone would laugh at me. But then I started to play golf with Special Olympics. It helped me to find my voice. and now everyone else is speechless.
For the love of the game. That's what it's all about, they say. But for those of us who are Division III student athletes, it's more than that.
It's more about team and the schools and communities we represent.
And for the many of us blessed with the strength to compete in sport at the college level, we understand that with what we were given comes a special obligation.
Our obligation to help those who have their own special needs and whose love for the game is no less intense.
That is why NCAA Division III teamed up with Special Olympics. Since August of 2011, we and others from Division III campus communities have volunteered more than 250,000 hours, time away from the classroom and practice field, reaching across the country to coach and mentor Special Olympics athletes.
And to learn that in giving, we receive so much more in return. Help us keep that dream alive.
Be part of it.
Get involved.
You can make a difference.
Welcome to Hoopsville. 3, 2, 1. Welcome to Hoopsville Courtside as we are talking to the student athletes involved in the games and getting a chance here to talk to Williams in semifinal number 2, talking to him ahead of the first one. I can have time between the 2 semifinals to talk to everybody we want to, so getting an opportunity now. And Daniel Aronowitz joins me from Williams, the senior. And first and foremost, for a team that I don't think had expectations on getting here, welcome to Salem.
Yeah, I appreciate it. It's nice to be here.
You guys have got to be on cloud 9 a little bit here. The second half of the season was a little bit rough. Obviously, NESCAC play was really tough this year. Granted, as a 6th seed, you had to make a run in the tournament just to get into the NCAA tournament. You guys kind of playing from kind of behind everybody for most of the season.
Yeah, I think for us, it's just a testament to how tough our conference is and to go on the road against some really good teams in the conference, particularly at Hamilton, at Bowdoin, a few games where we struggle early in conference play. And to drop a few of those tough games to good teams certainly looks bad, but you know, in hindsight, they don't look quite as bad when you think about how tough our conference was this year. And so, like you said, playing behind a little bit to try to get into the NESCAC tournament in the first place, and then just knowing that we had to kind of lock in and make a run late in the season, and we were able to beat some really, really good teams in the conference, and then obviously have been able to keep that run going in the NCAA tournament.
How tough is it? You guys started really well this season, and then you clicked into the second half of the year. Amherst had the same thing. They ended up going 8-6 to finish the year. You guys had 10 wins at least, but you had a number of losses. How hard is that mentally on you guys that, you know, you feel like you had a good season and now you're just getting beat up?
Yeah, no, for us it's just a matter of trying to stay focused and work hard every single day and not try to focus too much on the last game, whether it was a win or a loss. And like we talked about, some of those losses early in NESCAC play were tough, but we just had to emphasize that just keep looking forward and keep preparing for the next opportunity, and I felt like we were able to do that very well, and it's worked out for us.
Admittedly, this might be the deepest the NESCAC's ever been. There was at least 8 teams that legitimately were good. Amherst, Tufts, Middlebury, yourselves, Wesleyan. Bates was making a play in there. There was Trinity certainly was in the mix. You've been there for now 4 years. Is this the deepest and the most challenging it's ever been in conference play?
I think so, absolutely. Maybe a little less top-heavy this year than it has been, but in terms of just pure depth, I mean, we feel all 11 teams, you know, are very talented, very good, very well coached. So again, I think it's just a testament to how good the coaching and the recruiting's been in our conference, and we're lucky to be here and made it through.
Did you guys feel you're a 6th seed in the NESCAC tournament? Did you have any expectations of the NCAA tournament? Did you feel you had to get some wins to get in that large chance, or did you think you had to win the whole thing?
I thought we'd have a chance. We had some really good wins, especially early in the year against some teams that were ranked at the end.
Yeah.
So we just wanted to try to do everything we can to put ourselves in the best position to make the tournament. For us, that was trying to win the NESCAC tournament. Unfortunately, we couldn't do that, but we felt that we had done enough during the course of the season and beat enough top teams for us to have a chance, and luckily, we got the opportunity to play in the NCAA tournament.
And then luckily, because of the scheduling quirks, there are Division III. Scranton can't host, so you guys end up getting that opportunity. Of course, then you end up playing Becker in the first round, Scranton in the second, and then you doubled down on the landmark and played Susquehanna in the following weekend. Just how important was it, though, to start from your gym to start the tournament versus being on the road?
I think from just a momentum standpoint, it was enormous. I mean, our crowd was unbelievable that weekend. 2 games, sold-out crowd. I mean, it was an incredible atmosphere. And for us, we shot the ball really well that weekend. And just to get that confidence and have the crowd behind us, I think really contributed to the run that we'd be able to make, especially going down to Middlebury and playing at their really hostile environment.
I was going to say, we'll skip the round of 16. The Elite 8 game, you had to take on Middlebury, and they had been on a tear. Yep. They had been absolutely destroying teams, yourselves included, in the conference championship game. What was the mentality going into that? Because after you just took a beating a couple weeks before against them, now you're playing them at their place, and you know Pepin's going to be hopping. Yeah. How do you adjust and get ready for that game and thus stay in that game?
Yeah, for us it was just a matter of trying to stay composed. We knew that the crowd was going to be wild. We knew we had to weather their storm, particularly their shooters. They're a really talented team, really well coached, and we knew that if we could weather the storm, particularly early in the game, and and stay in it, we would be able to to make shots down the stretch and to give ourselves an opportunity to win. And I felt that we did a really good job early, and then we ended up taking a lead at halftime. And we talked at halftime about just a couple weeks before how we were up 4-3, I think, at halftime, and then they came out and just absolutely smacked in the second half. And so we said that in the locker room that we needed to come out stronger early in the second half, and again sort of weather their storm and keep the crowd quiet if we could, and give ourselves a chance to win.
Of course, nail biting at the end. You guys are struggling to hit free throws. They can't hit layups. No one seems to want to win the end of that game. There was a little tense at the end.
Yeah, it was. I mean, I think it's just a testament to two really tough teams from the same conference who know each other really well. The coaching staffs did an incredible job of getting each team prepared to play, and so it's just down the stretch, got to make plays, and we did just enough to come out on top in that one.
You were on the team that got back was here last time, right?
My freshman year.
Okay, your freshman year with Coach Maker. Duncan Robinson was a freshman as well. Obviously, the team dropped significantly off that. Maker, leaves for another program. Duncan leaves for Michigan. Did you expect in your career to be able to get back here? Did you have any expectations?
I did, honestly.
Okay.
And I felt for us, we've always talked about the hardest part can be getting in at times, and we felt that we've had the talent over the last 2 seasons to be able to potentially make a run in the tournament, and we struggled a little bit in the conference, and didn't have the opportunity to get a bid. And I think for Mike and I as upperclassmen, he was the other one on that team. It just shows you that you can't take these opportunities for granted, and that when you get here, you gotta work really hard, and it's not easy to get here. Because we didn't know any better as freshmen. And so just having the opportunity to be back in the NCAA tournament, and luckily for us, being able to make a run, it's been incredible.
You'll take on Augustana in the first semifinal. I'm sure you've looked at enough tape to know them as well as you can, but what do you expect from the Vikings? What do you think you can take advantage of yourselves?
Yeah, I think they're a really balanced team. They have a lot of guys that can hurt you in many different ways. So I think for us, it's just playing with the same confidence and the same looseness that has made us successful over the last 2 months. And so, we want to focus on their personnel, but we want to make sure that we're treating this game the same way that we would treat a Middlebury or a Tufts or an Amherst, and just leave it all out there and just do everything we can to try to be successful.
As a senior, how much have you prepared the team for the Salem experience?
I've told them a little bit about it. It's a lot of fun being out here.
Yeah.
Just not taking any opportunities for granted, because you don't get to come here every year, and so just enjoy every moment, and the pictures and the media and stuff. It's a lot of fun. Just enjoy the whole thing.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate you taking time to join us.
Yeah.
Daniel Aronowitz again for Williams. They will take on Augustana in the second semifinal. When we come back, we actually talk to the other side of this equation. Augustana's Krishan Orange joins me. You're watching the Hoopsville Courtside Pregame Show. Back with more from Salem.
Something I discovered in myself is that if I have a goal, I can accomplish it.
It's a well-rounded experience.
At a Division III school, you primarily a student athlete, so the school is really shaped around you developing yourself as a complete individual.
It helps a lot that you have a family with your team that can guide you.
When George Fox University was founded in 1891, its creators envisioned 2 things: a challenging educational experience and a community where students could deepen their faith. 125 years later, the core of who we are remains unchanged, and our focus on the whole person, our Be Known promise, remains as vibrant and relevant today as it was back then. At George Fox University, you'll never be a number. You will be known.
It's on us to stop sexual assault.
In any way that we can.
To get a friend home safe.
To never blame the victim.
It's on us.
To stand up.
To make our community safe for all.
It's on us.
It's on us to look out for each other at parties.
It's on us.
To be more than just a bystander.
To step up and say something.
It's on us. All of us.
To stop sexual assault. Learn how and take the pledge at itsonus.org.
I coined my definition of success in 1934. My definition of success is peace of mind attained only through self-satisfaction in knowing you made the effort to do the best of which you're capable. It's like reputation and character. Reputation is what others perceive you to be. Character is what you are.
My name is Marcus Walker. I was All-State, won a state championship, a high school All-American, and played college and pro ball. I played because I love the game. I grind to be the best. I sweat because I put in work. I'm strong because I believe. When I want to bring it before game time, I come to the house that college basketball built, the CBE. No matter your skill, take it to another level. Elevate your game right here at the College Basketball Experience at Sprint Center.
Welcome back to the Hoopsville Courtside pregame show. We're talking to the student athletes of Division III's men's basketball championship. I'm now joined by Krishan Orange, sophomore for the Augustana Vikings. And first and foremost, congratulations on getting here.
Thank you. Thank you.
Expectations weren't exactly there for Augustana to be here. The last 2 seasons, absolutely. We're here in the championship game 2 years ago. Missed out last year, losing to the eventual champs in St. Thomas. You lose 8 seniors, 6 of them your top scorers. You guys really didn't have pressure on you, and look where you found yourselves.
Yeah, a lot of people thought that, and, you know, we didn't want to be the guys to just let the tradition down, you know.
Sure.
That's the high expectations you have to go in Augustana. So we knew what the expectations were, and we all put in individual work in the summer and just getting better as individuals, and then coming together, just getting better individual, coming together to just get better as a team.
You guys came roaring out of the gates, 8-1 in the CCIW. At what point this season did you guys kind of realize, we're kind of replicating what we did the last couple of years?
Yeah, when we got on those win streaks, we kind of looked around and said, all right, like, we're for real. We're a for real team. So, and it all started with our defense. We started playing defense really well in those win streaks we've had. And our past games, that's what's been really getting us wins. So our defense has really been great, and that's what really just propelled us.
A little scary at the end. Didn't finish the regular season strong. I want to say 4 losses in 6 games. I can't remember losing in the conference tournament as well in the championship game. Were you guys worried at that point that maybe the season was ending, or did you have confidence you're going to go on it? And what happened during that stretch?
Oh, we had confidence. There was just some tough losses we had. We just didn't get the job done in crunch time, and I feel like we've learned from that, and that's why in the tournament we've kind of gotten better at finishing in late games and situations. So I think that kind of helped us just to get into the tournament.
Well, yeah, first round you're playing your nemesis in St. Thomas, which I don't think we've ever seen you two play in the first round before. Mm-hmm. You're down 8 with, coach corrected me, 36 seconds on the clock. That in most games would be like, this ain't going to happen. But you guys came roaring back. What was said in the timeout huddles that kind of spurred that on?
Just stay together, keep coming. That's been our motto all year, and that's what we preach. We just played to the last horn, to the last buzzer. So we knew what we were down and what we were against, so we just kept fighting.
You hit the buzzer beater to win that one. The still shot from our friend Larry Radloff. It looks like the ball's practically hitting your forehead. How confident were you in that shot? You pulled up. It wasn't like you were running. You kind of pulled up and got a good jumper out of it, but how confident were you when it left your hands?
That one kind of felt a little right, but I saw it sneak in a little bit. It looked online, so I said that has a chance, and when it went in, I was like, all right, let's...
Well, and then the second night against Whitewater, great back-and-forth game, comes down to the end. You literally go over to your point guard and rip the ball away from him and said, I got this.
Well, Coach G and I looked at each other and we go, all right, I'll go get the ball. And I wanted to make another play for my team because I just did the night before. So it was the same thing, just trying to make plays so we could win.
That's the thing is, everyone wants to hit the game winner to help their team.
Yeah.
But to do it on back-to-back nights, that's not all that common. You had to have been brimming with a little bit of confidence coming up.
Oh, yeah. After the first one, I think everyone just had a ton of confidence just getting our first win in the tournament. And then coming back, we're just like, all right, like, we're meant to be here. We're supposed to be here.
And then you went to Hope. You got past Wartburg, who was definitely playing Cinderella and knockout champ. And then you got past a pesky Hanover team in the second round. But you played them at Hope. What was the second weekend like from your point of view?
It was good. It was the same as kind of the first weekend, as the first game in the first weekend. It's just an energy game because you're not playing the home team. So it's just you have to be together as a group and just bring your own energy and just feed off each other. And I think that's what we really did well up at Hope.
So you're back in Salem.
Yeah.
Now you have not been here before.
First time.
Because you're a sophomore. You've heard the team talk a lot about it.
Yeah.
Welcome. What are your thoughts?
I like it so far. We just got here, and Coach G's been talking about just we have to stay ourselves and just be confident as a group because we're supposed to be here. And Dylan's giving me a little advice, and Jacob. So just nice to be here.
So you've looked ahead. What do you see in Williams that you guys hope to exploit? What do you see in Williams you got to be worried about?
Oh, their length. They're definitely big from top down, except for their point guard. I think he's 5'8", but other than that, they're a long team. Good defensively. They pack it in a little bit, but we have to take away rhythm threes. They shoot three really well. I think if we do that, we'll have a good chance.
What do you hope to accomplish from your point of view? What do you guys hope you can do against them to succeed?
Just limit their 3 attempts and keep them off offensive glass. Offensive glass
certainly is key. This team obviously got to the championship game 2 years ago. Do you guys feel pressure that you're here, or because this season was so unexpected, there's no pressure?
It's no pressure, but at the same time, we don't think it's just a coincidence we're here. Yeah. We know we're supposed to be here, so we're just ready to go out and play.
Well, you guys look like you're ready to play. Yeah. Thanks for taking the time to join us. I really appreciate it. Christian Orange, again, a sophomore for Augustana. We'll see how they do coming up. We'll have plenty more Hoopsville Courtside pregame show ahead of semifinal number 1 after this.
Defining moments. Championship dreams. Share the experience with your family and friends. The 2017 NCAA Division III Men's Basketball Championship, March 17th and 18th at the Salem Civic Center in Salem, Virginia. Visit ncaa.com/tickets for your tickets today.
I'm a Division III student athlete, and I believe that everyone should be educated on LGBTQ issues.
I pledge to work with my athletic department and my campus to foster dialogue and create a community of support, respect, and pride.
If you can play in Division III.
We are Division III student athletes, and you can be too. If you can play in Division III.
College basketball lives in Kansas City at the College Basketball Experience at Sprint Center. The College Basketball Experience is the place to get your game on. It's not a museum, it's an experience you won't forget. Discover the history of the game in the National Collegiate Basketball Hall of Fame, featuring the Gallery of Honor, Mentor's Circle, and Honor Theater. Suit up in the latest CBE logoed Nike gear at the CBE Hoop Shop. Elevate your game today and visit the house that college basketball built.
It starts right when you hit the court. You imagine your finest moment. The game-winning shot that gets you to the dance, a monster dunk or no-look pass, and cutting down the net. Sports lets us dream of our own success and prepare us for our finest moments on and off the court.
At George Fox University, our promise is that every student will be known, personally, academically, and spiritually. To be known means professors and staff know you by name. It means you're valued, encouraged, and challenged. It means we'll listen to you and with you as you pursue God's call in your life. At George Fox University, you will never be a number. You will be known. Visit georgefox.edu to learn more.
Cheer for the stumbles. That he should have had that. And the tears that linger. For in those...
Welcome back to Salem as we are getting ready for Division III men's basketball semifinals. Action from the Salem Civic Center. It is going to be a good one. Of course, first game it is Babson versus Whitman, undefeated Whitman coming in here against Babson, who held on the number 1 ranking for most of the second half of the season, ahead of Whitman. And then the second one, it's Augustana versus Williams in a battle of unranked, heck of a run type teams. Joining me now, Ryan Scott, our national Around the Nation columnist, and welcome back to Salem, sir. Your second year, correct?
This is my second year.
Very nice.
Glad to be here.
One of the things I wanted to kind of talk about for a few minutes with you was kind of more of the insights of these teams here. There's some kind of cool stories behind the scenes, as it were. And we talk about them a little bit, but, you know, for example, Williams getting back here.
They haven't been here since Duncan Robinson was a freshman. They had Mike Makers, their head coach. Mayer was their center. They had an awesome team. They just lost the national championship to Whitewater. And that offseason was pretty brutal. So to be back here and technically with some players who were on that team is pretty impressive.
Well, yeah, I mean, Mike Greenman, he's listed as a junior now, but he missed all last year to injury. So he was a freshman that year, and he started at point guard most of the season. So he's back as a point guard this year. And then Daniel Ronowitz was like maybe the seventh man on that team, and he's sort of the leading scorer now. So those guys were back, and I got to do that story this week, so I got to talk to both of those guys. I think what the biggest part of that, and we have three teams who have all players who maybe have played here in Salem before, whether they were a lot of minutes or not a lot of minutes. They were here, and the biggest part of that is talking about how much the experience teaches them about what you need to do to get through. You know, we have a tournament of 64 teams, and honestly, if they show up on any given night, probably 45 of them could be this far in the tournament.
True.
You know. And what the difference ends up being is intensity and focus and being able to get over bad moments and to move on to the next thing. Yeah. And that's what the guys talk about when they've been here before. It's that experience of not getting overwhelmed by the lights. That's the most intriguing thing about this first matchup for me is the fact that Whitman's the only team that hasn't been here before.
Yeah, they haven't seen these lights. They haven't been on this floor. Heck, they haven't been on the East Coast all that often. And granted, they went to Florida halfway through the season.
Right, and whether that gets to them at all, whether they're able to stay calm, that's been the theme from their coach, Eric Bridgeland, at least, that we're having fun, we're going to show up and play, we're going to do our thing. You know, it's a very typically West Coast, right, that they're the laid-back team. And they have been here all week. They came right from Marietta down to Salem.
Yeah, we should mention on Hoopsville Sunday night, I mentioned that they may have been flying back. It's because the information we had was that was the plan. We didn't know if that had changed, and honestly, I didn't have time to reach out. And that was one of the things. They went home after that game or went back to their hotel and said, wait a minute, why would we be returning and then flying right back out again? Now, Coach Bridgeland did actually return, went back to celebrate his son's 5th birthday, spent about 24 hours there and came back. But, yeah, the team with very little clothing. They've done a lot of laundry this week, but got some bowling in at the Sheridan. But, yeah, I mean, that's kind of the uniqueness of this. This has been a 10-day business trip.
Right, and that I wonder if that'll help them just be acclimated to what's going on. They've been in this place. It's not, they're here before everybody else. Maybe gives them a little chance to not feel like newbies necessarily, even though they are the ones that are here. So we'll see tonight. Looking forward to this first game. Should be high scoring.
Another interesting thing is we got a lot of underclassmen making their presence known. I mean, Whitman is all underclassmen, for lack of a better determination. They got some juniors, but for the most part, this is an underclassmen team. No seniors, and they're coming back next year. Sorry to the rest of the division. Augustana is pretty much underclassmen. Sophomore and Krishan Orange, who's leading the way. It's underclassmen at Williams who are making
especially in the post.
Yeah, absolutely. And even Babson, as much as they've got upperclassmen, they've got a couple underclassmen reference. But those three teams, it's really about the underclassmen.
Yeah, I mean, Babson's the one where you would say, that they're going to be losing a lot to graduation. Yeah. But they've done well recruiting, and there's another wave coming through. Whether they'll be as good is a question. But
be as good as Joey Flannery's pretty high bar to hit.
Yeah, that's what we'll have to see. But, yeah, you'd expect Whitman will be a favorite to be back here next year. You expect – Williams was 6th in the NESCAC, so, you'd expect him to be just as good next year, but we don't know what that means.
Right, that's true.
And Augustana's the same way. The CCIW was real tough, and there are a lot of young teams there as well. So I expect, next year's going to be a lot of familiar faces.
I sense a lot of more parity.
Well, I just can't even imagine how many good teams we're going to have bringing back a lot of people.
Look at the CCIW is going to be stacked next year. The WIAC is going to be stacked next year. NESCAC loses a lot of seniors.
Right.
And we talk about Williams' youth, and that's why it's interesting. There is a lot of seniors in the NESCAC. I don't know if we see an 8-team depth conference next year.
Not in the same way. That is the one we always go back and forth with the CCIW and the WIAC guys about who's better, and I'd say, well, this year,
this year I think it's a NESCAC.
NESCAC is full of seniors this year, and the WIAC and CCIW are full of juniors, so you know what's going to happen next year. But you could see, 3 teams bringing back a lot of production, and maybe none of them gets back next year. That's why having that experience helps to say you never know when you're going to get back. That's what those Williams guys told me often. They said we took it for granted getting here as freshmen.
Yeah.
Because you don't realize how hard you have to work to get back.
True.
Because for them, they had 6 seniors or something that did the hard work to get here, and they sort of rode the coattails, and now they know what it takes, and hopefully they're translating that to the young guys who will have to lead the team next year. And really, they're just graduating. Aronowitz is the only one who will be
pretty
leaving,
much.
So.
Just seeing the teams out there warming up, starting to warm up. Not much of a crowd. Well, let's see, Whitman's a little bit of a tough travel, but we have an hour. And Babson should show up, but I expect the bigger crowd actually be the second game. Before I let you go, just your thoughts on how these two games may play out. Obviously, we may get a chance to talk to you between games. I really don't know yet, but just in case, how do you see these two games playing out?
Right. So I mean, unstoppable force versus immovable object in this first game, right? So there's no reason on any sort of rational sense to pick against Whitman.
Yeah.
You know, they've beaten great teams. They're deep. They're athletic. They're talented. But, you know, you've seen Babson win so many games.
Yeah.
Full of seniors. Joey Flannery, I think, is the best player in Division III. And
certainly, arguably, yeah.
He shows up. You know, the one stat we talked about, I was just looking through the Salem Final Four records. 22 free throw attempts is the record for one game. And I think he very likely could get that tonight. And if he does, Babson wins.
Yeah, if he attacks and Whitman can't stop him or just decides to foul. You're absolutely right. Second game, kind of a wide open game in my thought. I mean, it could be anything.
Nearly identical teams.
Yeah.
I mean, they're from big conferences, but they weren't expected to do anything this year. And
both of them backed up into the end of the regular season.
Didn't do great. I mean, Williams had a pretty good run towards the end, but you know, sixth in the conference is not great. Augustana, you know, wasn't doing well in February, and they're both here. Yeah. They play the same kind of game. I mean, if you look at their stats side by side, very similar.
Oh yeah, tail of tape's identical.
They're both relying on young bigs, and that's going to be the difference. I mean, who controls the inside? You know, Williams has a ton of height. I mean, I think I counted 6, 7, 8 guys that are 6'6" or bigger. I mean, that might be the difference. We'll have to find out. But that's what you're going to look at is who's winning the battle in the paint.
Well, I appreciate you taking the time to join us. They're warming up. We're going to take a break. When we come back, I hope, he's standing behind me. Kerry Harvey-Cutter will join us, talk a little bit about Salem. And we still have the coaches to talk to, and we'll break down the games. And we'll even take a look at the women's game. That's all still ahead on the Hoopsville Courtside Show, live from the Salem Civic Center. Hoopsville, presented by D3Hoops.com. I want to thank our partners at the City of Salem for their hospitality. Back with more after this.
Defining moments. Championship dreams. Share the experience with your family and friends. The 2017 NCAA Division III Men's Basketball Championship, March 17th and 18th at the Salem Civic Center in Salem, Virginia. Visit ncaa.com/tickets for your tickets today.
I did receive a non-athletic scholarship upon entering school.
I got the presidential scholarship, which was huge for me.
I think there's more opportunities for academic scholarships in Division III.
I did receive academic scholarships. Just being involved on campus, being a leader, all those things combined kind of get me recognized. It's a great experience for me.
When George Fox University was founded in 1891, its creators envisioned two things: a challenging educational experience and a community where students could deepen their faith. 125 years later, the core of who we are remains unchanged, and our focus on the whole person, our Be Known promise, remains as vibrant and relevant today as it was back then. At George Fox University, you'll never be a number. You will be known.
Great moments are born from great opportunity. That's what you have here tonight. That's what you've earned here tonight. This is your time. Now go out there and take it.
My name is Marcus Walker. I was All-State, won a state championship, a high school All-American, and played college and pro ball. I played because I love the game. I grind to be the best. I sweat because I put in work. I'm strong because I believe. When I want to bring it before game time, I come to the house that college basketball built, the CBE. No matter your skill, take it to another level. Elevate your game right here at the College Basketball Experience at Sprint Center.
Welcome back to Courtside at the Salem Civic Center. We're getting ready for semifinal number 1. It is going to be Babson versus Whitman. They're warming out on the floor, and we'll get ready to do the game here in about, an hour's time, a little under an hour. We'll be ready. I'll be on the broadcast as a color commentator for NCAA.com. Now joining me here on the Hoopsville Courtside Show is a friend of the group, Harry Harvey Cutter. He used to run this building. Now he runs the tourism for the city of Salem. And thanks for coming on the show, sir.
Oh, it's always a pleasure. It's sort of, I'm supposed to be here.
Yes, you are. Hey, you guys are always looking to do things different, do things new, do things a little bit more snazzy every year. I know you guys seem to never run out of ideas. One idea, I don't know if anybody can see it over our shoulders, is you brought in a little fancy video screen for the scorers table, sir.
We did. Came from the Hampton-Sydney College in Hampton-Sydney, Virginia, a good ODAC school. They loaned them to us. We insured them very strongly. And we've got their SID and somebody else helping us operate.
Oh, great. How do you get something like that over here? That's not like something you just throw on the back of a truck necessarily.
Well, it is. Yeah. Our catering service has a big truck.
Oh, okay.
And we sent some guys over, used the lift gate. They did say when they go back, they're going to add a couple more guys to it. It's a little bit heavier than
it looks. Yeah.
And they used a lot of strapping it in the back. We didn't want it rolling around in the back of the truck.
Nice. Well, it looks pretty darn snazzy.
Yeah, it's neat. J.J. Nekoloff, the
Yep.
Associate Commissioner from ODAC, did some programming for it. The NCAA programmed some of it. So
great.
We'll use it for introductions and other things along the
Looking
along
forward
the
to
2 days.
seeing that. Anything else new that maybe has escaped my eye or that fans will get to enjoy if they come or watch from afar?
Well, for many years we had the John Carroll University Band.
Yep.
It was sort of our house band.
Yeah.
And they couldn't come, and they couldn't come last year. So I went out and started looking within ODAC. So we have the Emory and Henry Pep Band. They'll have 15, 18 members.
That's great.
They're growing to have a marching band. So
wow.
We're doing it. They're actually on spring break. But they said, they'll come down. We've got them up in a hotel overnight and some
nice.
pizzas and Chick-fil-A. And
nothing beats that.
It's a little trip, and they can have some experiences at the D3 Championship.
Well, and the funny thing is they walked in, and initially I thought maybe Whitman's band had shown up. They're wearing the same colors.
They are the same.
So for a moment I'm like, did Whitman seriously bring their band?
A very long bus ride. But we did have 2 fans from Whitman that showed up at the ticket office this morning out of the blue and said, do you still have tickets?
Wow.
And they had driven from Walla Walla.
They drove from Walla
They
Walla?
drove from Walla Walla.
When did they start? Christmas?
Well, probably as soon as they...
Yeah, as soon as the clock hit 0, they probably hit the road.
And, of course, Whitman has been here all week.
Yes. And that's a good question to ask you. Whitman wins the game on Saturday. I remember mentioning them on Saturday night. Hey, by the way, are you guys staying? And their head coach giving me that look like, we never thought of that.
Yeah.
And quickly those logistics are changed. How do you, because I don't think you've had to go through it. I know on the women's side they've had, because George Fox stayed a couple years ago between Hope and Calvin. How do you change the logistics? Because you're going to hold them up X amount of nights. Now you got to get them in for a couple more nights. How does that work on the backside?
Well, the interesting thing is you develop good hotel relationships.
Yes, you do, and you got very good ones.
And we've worked with the people at the Sheraton for a number of years. The assistant sales manager, Tim Gamble, is just top notch, and he does everything he can to make it work. It also helped they were coming on a Sunday night.
Okay.
You can find hotel rooms on a Sunday night almost any time. And then, with the travel part, we were able to work it in. And then on the backside, Augustana buses from Rock Island.
Okay.
And they don't get here until Thursday, so we had extra rooms on Wednesday. So in the long run, it'll be about the same number of rooms, just spread out over different days.
Yeah. Augustana's basically decided that's a trip they'd rather bus on now, and stop at Hinckley along the way.
Yeah, they do. They stop at Hinckley. And the advantage of busing and Williams bus is you can bring more kids. The official travel part in the NCAA for men's basketball is 18.
Right.
And everybody's traveling with 22 or 23. The bench party is actually 22.
Yeah.
So, you're traveling extra people. You put them on the bus, then you can bring some freshmen that wouldn't make the trip otherwise.
You got to pay for it technically, but it's not a plane, which gets much more restrictive.
It does.
You guys are synonymous with championships. Believe it or not, this is crazy for me. This is my 3rd championship in Salem this academic year.
Yes.
And we may be talking 4 if all the ducks are in a row for women's lacrosse.
Excuse me, this is your 4th.
This year?
Men's soccer, women's soccer.
Oh, true. I was here for women's. I don't think of it that way. Right. That's true.
Basketball.
I forgot the double championship technically. So so I'm looking at number 5 maybe with women's lacrosse.
This is number 83.
That's where I was going. Number 83 for Division 3 or overall?
Division 2 and 3.
Yeah, that's impressive.
Yeah,
Division
probably
3 is
12 or 14 Division 2.
I was going to say about 2/3 to almost 3/4 of that is Division 3. This is championship weekend in basketball 21 and championship 20. Am I correct?
This is the 21st year of basketball.
Right. Yeah, okay. And then obviously we had that 1 year where we didn't hand out the championship trophy here. So you are synonymous with football. You are now synonymous in basketball, and you've become a reputation to pull off soccer in 60 days or less.
9 weeks.
Yeah, that's darn quick.
4.5 weeks to pull off the CIAA football.
Yeah, and by the way, D2 decided to help and come over, and that was pretty darn impressive as well. As synonymous as that is, though, I always get the sense from you that it could end at any moment, that you do not know whether the committees or the NCAA are going to keep granting
We do not know. We think we've done a great job, and we hope that it continues, but we run scared, so to speak. You know, we put the best proposal out there we can. We have 2018 men's basketball. The 4 years beyond that,
we don't know.
We'll know like everybody else on April the 18th. That's when all the championships come out, same time.
Right.
This event and football, they've been here a long time.
Yeah.
And, you know, we understand Division III. We understand the demands of Division III that are very different than Division I. You're not doing it because you're going to fill up a facility, especially when you have these 4 teams that
travel from afar.
Yeah, they're not close.
Right.
You know, when we had Hampton-Sydney,
you expect this place to be pretty full. Yeah, Virginia Wesleyan and Randolph-Macon, absolutely.
You know, we do that. But, you know, you take who the teams are that win it. But we want the kids to have a great experience. Last night, we got rid of the banquet that you've participated in, did something totally foreign. We took them off-site from the Civic Center. Our food service still provided the meal. Went to Center in the Square in downtown Roanoke.
Yeah.
Took them up on the rooftop inside.
Yeah, I was going to say it was a little chilly, Gary.
But you went out a little bit outside to get into off the elevator and in. And so we had a very abbreviated program, about 12, 15 minutes, not a lot of speeches. And then we let the All-Stars and the committee and the local folks go downstairs to the Roanoke Pinball Museum.
That's awesome.
And then after they'd done that, then the student athletes ate and they went down and played pinball. And they've got, 45, 50 pinball machines.
I did hear the student athletes had to be taught or told what pinball was.
They really did, yeah.
That's hurts.
Especially when they went to the pinball machine from 1932, that you put a nickel in the slot and you push it, and then it drops 2 wooden balls that you shoot, drop one at a time into it, and they're like little nails stuck up, and it falls in a hole that says 100, 250, and all that.
Kind of like Plinko almost.
Very much like
Yeah,
Plinko.
very cool. Not to put you necessarily on the spot, but I'm always curious, do you guys ever look at other championships and say, hey, that would be neat to have here? And we should point out, football, basketball, we've seen softball here, we've seen women's lacrosse has been here, baseball I think has made an appearance.
Baseball was here, volleyball was here
and
for 2 years.
volleyball. Any others that you look at and go, you know what, I think we maybe can pull that off, let's put a bid in?
We actually put a bid in this year for women's basketball, Division III. Roanoke College has the new Krieger Center.
Beautiful.
It's outstanding.
Yeah.
And perfectly sized, on campus. It may stretch our group a little bit, but we'll have all the Roanoke College people.
Right.
And so we add that into the mix. And Scotty Allison and Carla, the women's coach, and everybody, they would love to have it, and we'd love to showcase there. So, we're looking at that. Whether you do a combo with men and women the same time, or, maybe the men are here, or maybe the women are here, we just see what it is.
I know the women are looking for maybe a combo, and I think the women are looking for a new home. So you never know what they might decide in April.
We'd love to have them. Make no bones about it. It's a great event. This is a great event. We become synonymous with Division III.
Yeah.
Very honestly, I would love to have bid volleyball at the college, but that's basically the first weekend of basketball season.
Yeah.
And they're not going to give up that home opener for either the men or the women, and I understand that completely.
Well, I appreciate you taking the time. It's kind of funny. The committee's actually already made the decision on all this, so it's weird to see them here, but they won't tell anybody anything.
Have they made the decision?
Yeah, because it's announced in April, but the committees are done. Well, no, they might. I think they're done, because I think the beginning of March was the last chance for them to change their minds.
I think they sent their finalists in. I don't know.
No, you might be right. Yeah, but it's kind of interesting. It's just we're all in pins and needles.
Well, yeah, and how
especially you.
Yeah, somebody like me. I mean, I go over and talk to the committee member or talk to the liaison and say, well, how do we look? Oh, Kerry, you always look good. No,
I know you can't get anything from them, can you? I've gone to them and say, hey, so what did you guys think of the bids? They were nice.
Yeah.
No, I'm looking for. No, I can't tell you. Darn it.
They tell me this. I understand why
it's
they
about the only thing they're secretive about.
Why they don't tell me. I understand that. But they should.
Yeah, I know. Take you off the ledge.
21 years ought to know.
Well, Kerry, I appreciate you coming on. Any final thoughts before we let you go?
We've got some great basketball. We've got 4 really good teams. All of them have been here at one time or another. Whitman came the year that we had the 8 teams. The other 3 have all been here for the championship round. I saw a pretty good Williams team last week defeat a very strong Middlebury team on their floor.
Yeah.
And so I think we're just going to see some really good basketball. And if you're close by, Martinsville, Greensboro, Richmond.
Absolutely.
You're not that far.
No.
Maybe some Randolph-Macon fans will come up. Or Hampton-Sydney come up, look at their board.
And if not, drive down and come tomorrow. All-Star game and championship. Should be a really good day.
It is, with 20 great athletes coming tomorrow for the All-Star game.
Looking forward to that one, too.
Some kids from all over the state, too.
Oh, yeah. The Special Olympics, one of the best parts of this. Kerry, thanks for taking the time. Dave. I appreciate it. He's Kerry Harvey-Cutter. When I come back, we'll have Gordon Mann join us. Why don't you talk about the women's semifinals that are coming up as well. You're watching the Hoopsville pregame show courtside from the Salem Civic Center. Thanks to our partners at the City of Salem, the Salem Civic Center, and D3Hoops.com. Back after this.
For the love of the game. But for those of us who are Division III student athletes, it's more than that. A lot more.
Sure, the game is important. But as we work so hard to build both mind and body, it's more about team.
That is why NCAA Division III teamed up with Special Olympics. And in giving the gift of sport to those for whom it seemed an impossible dream, we are working to make this a better world.
Help us keep that dream alive.
You can make a difference.
I'm a Division III student athlete, and I know how powerful words can be. The term gay doesn't mean stupid, lame, or less than.
So I pledge to speak up if I hear the term gay used in a derogatory way or any other homophobic terms.
If you can play in Division III.
I'm a Division III student athlete, and my teammates unconditionally accepted me as part of their family. So now I pledge to do the same for others. If you can play in Division III.
It starts right when you hit the court. You imagine your finest moment. The game-winning shot that gets you to the dance. A monster dunk or no-look pass. And cutting down the net. Sports lets us dream of our own success. And prepare us for our finest moments on and off the court.
I used to never really talk. Ever. I was afraid if I said something wrong, everyone would laugh at me. But then I started to play golf with Special Olympics. It helped me to find my voice. And now everyone else is speechless.
Defining moments. Championship dreams. Share the experience with your family and friends. The 2017 NCAA Division III Men's Basketball Championship, March 17th and 18th at the Salem Civic Center in Salem, Virginia. Visit ncaa.com/tickets for your tickets today.
For the love of the game. But for those of us who are Division III student athletes, it's more than that. A lot more.
Sure, the game is important. But as we work so hard to build both mind and body, it's more about team.
That is why NCAA Division III teamed up with Special Olympics. And in giving the gift of sport to those for whom it seemed an impossible dream, we are working to make this a better world.
Help us keep that dream alive.
You can make a difference.
I'm a Division III student athlete, and I know how powerful words can be. The term gay doesn't mean stupid, lame, or less than.
So I pledge to speak up if I hear the term gay used in a derogatory way or any other homophobic terms.
If you can play in Division III.
I'm a Division III student athlete, and my teammates unconditionally accepted me as part of their family. So now I pledge to do the same for others. If you can play in Division III.
It starts right when you hit the court. You imagine your finest moment. The game-winning shot that gets you to the dance, a monster dunk or no-look pass, and cutting down the net. Sports lets us dream of our own success and prepare us for our finest moments on and off the court.
I used to never really talk. Ever. I was afraid if I said something wrong, everyone would laugh at me. But then I started to play golf with Special Olympics. It helped me to find my voice. And now everyone else is speechless.
Defining moments. Championship dreams. Share the experience with your family and friends. The 2017 NCAA Division III Men's Basketball Championship, March 17th and 18th at the Salem Civic Center in Salem, Virginia. Visit ncaa.com/tickets for your tickets today.
And welcome back to the Salem Civic Center as we're getting ready for the men's semifinals here in Division III men's basketball, the championship weekend from the Salem Civic Center. 21st time we are here at the Civic Center, and it'll be the 20th men's championship that we'll hand out tomorrow. As Carrie Harvey-Ketter just pointed out, the 83rd or 84th entire NCAA championship handed out here in Salem. When you count Division III and Division II, about 14 or 15 of those 80-some-odd championships. The women are also tipping it off here for a championship. They're going to be playing at Calvin College in Grand Rapids, Michigan, coming up here at about the same time these men's games will be played. Our Pat Coleman is out there with those championships. You've got two really amazing or fascinating matchups. You know, one side of the bracket, you've got the undefeated #1 team in the country in Amherst. Who'll be taking on Christopher Newport, kind of an unknown. Now, Amherst has played a Capital Athletic Conference team earlier this season. They took on Mary Washington, I should say earlier in the tournament. They took on Mary Washington in the second round. Mary Washington, pretty much the closest game they had all season with Amherst, or I should say in the tournament. 9-point game Amherst had in that victory. Certainly a little tighter than I think many would have expected out of that. On the other side of that, you've got an Amherst team who is stout on defense, would be willing to go up-tempo and go a little bit offensive if they need to, but Christopher Newport absolutely wants to go up-tempo. Some of the tallest in really, Amherst is tall too, but Christopher Newport, 9 players 5'10" or taller, 6 of them are 6 foot or taller. They are synonymous with being tall. As for, so what happens? You're going to get a game where either Amherst is going to control the tempo and be extremely defensive-minded, which might throw Christopher Newport off. You then have a Christopher Newport team who maybe wants to control the tempo. If they can go up-tempo, I think Amherst can go with them, but if it goes too far in that direction, this goes right into Christopher Newport's hands. And I think Christopher Newport has an edge. This might be one of the toughest games outside of Tufts that Amherst has played all season. I say that all now, and you know darn well what's going to happen is Amherst is going to win by 30. But it appears that Christopher Newport's going to have a chance here. I think Coach Broderick has got a squad here that can do a lot. They can go deep, too. They're going to be deeper than Amherst. They can go 10, 12 deep without any issues. And that's where I think this one gets a little bit more interesting. On the other side of the ledger, you have St. Thomas, who's undefeated, taking on Tufts, who's been to 4 straight championship weekends. And remember, they were playing for the championship game against Thomas More last year in Indianapolis. Tufts is very much like Amherst, very much defensive-minded. The two teams in 2 games combined for a total score that would have been a regular basketball game in most books. They're going to be defensive-minded, and they're taking on a St. Thomas team that is a little bit of an unknown. Even though they're undefeated, they haven't gotten this far necessarily with this much attention, being that high-ranked. Remember, when Tufts lost the second time to Amherst, St. Thomas leaped them in the rankings. You know, Tufts is actually 4th in the country. They fell behind Thomas More as well. So you've got a dynamic here of, do the rankings truly represent that St. Thomas is the better team, or is Tufts, just because they are so darn good, especially defensively with that Carl Berube squad, are they going to show that they are the second best team in the country coming into this tournament in reality? Games being played at Calvin, I don't think that favors anybody or disadvantages anybody necessarily. Everybody's got about an equal trip. St. Thomas coming out of Minnesota, Amherst coming out of Western Massachusetts, Tufts coming out of Eastern Massachusetts, and Christopher Newport coming out of Eastern Virginia. Everybody's got to fly to the location, one would assume. There may have been some busing. But you've got some interesting dynamics. The talk of that Final Four is even being discussed here in Salem, obviously with Williams here. But the idea that both championship weekends could be all New England matchups, all Massachusetts matchups. You could see Amherst versus Tufts on the women's side and Babson versus Williams on the men's side. 4 teams, all from Massachusetts. That is possible, and that has a lot of people intrigued. Could we see a third rematch between St. Thomas and Tufts in that title game? Absolutely, but I think Amherst and Tufts. You can't discount the other two there. I think there's just as real a chance that St. Thomas or Christopher Newport come out of it. And I know that's pretty amazing to say, but Amherst, as good as they are, has not seen the team like Christopher Newport. But then again, Christopher Newport's also playing in an element that they haven't been familiar with. Are they going to be comfortable under the lights, as it were, at Calvin? Calvin seats a lot of people. We hope the Calvin community will show up. Those games will be broadcast as well on NCAA.com. Former Division III broadcaster Brendan Gulick will be on the call along with his play-by-play guy as well. So we hope if you get a chance to check out those games, we hope you'll enjoy them as well. When we come back here, we'll start talking to the head coaches and start getting ready for this game. What does Stephen Brennan and what does Eric Bridgeland think about this game and their roads to this game? I talked to them yesterday after their practices to see what they feel like and see where they are going with things. We can tell you this much about Babson. Bo Miller is back. He's been cleared to play. The question becomes, will he play? He'll be suited up. That's an interesting dynamic for Babson. He has missed 10 of the last 12 games due to concussion symptoms. We don't talk to Coach Brennan specifically about that because yesterday we didn't know the answer as of yet. But how this team performs and what's coming up ahead for them is pretty important. So we'll check out and have a conversation with those coaches. You're watching the Hoopsville Courtside live show from Salem. We appreciate you taking the time to join us. Coming up first, we talk to Babson's head coach, Stephen Brennan. Back with more after this.
Defining moments. Championship dreams. Share the experience with your family and friends. The 2017 NCAA Division III Men's Basketball Championship, March 17th and 18th at the Salem Civic Center in Salem, Virginia. Visit ncaa.com/tickets for your tickets today.
I did receive a non-athletic scholarship upon entering school.
I got the presidential scholarship, which was huge for me.
I think there's more opportunities for academic scholarships in Division III.
I did receive academic scholarships. Just being involved on campus, being a leader, all those things combined kind of get me recognized. It's a great experience for me.
When George Fox University was founded in 1891, its creators envisioned 2 things: a challenging educational experience and a community where students could deepen their faith. 125 years later, the core of who we are remains unchanged, and our focus on the whole person, our Be Known promise, remains as vibrant and relevant today as it was back then. At George Fox University, you'll never be a number. You will be known.
Great moments are born from great opportunity. That's what you have here tonight. That's what you've earned here tonight. This is your time. Now go out there and take it.
My name is Marcus Walker. I was All-State, won a state championship, a high school All-American, and played college and pro ball. I played because I love the game. I grind to be the best. I sweat because I put in work. I'm strong because I believe. When I want to bring it before game time, I come to the house that college basketball built, the CBE. No matter your skill, take it to another level. Elevate your game right here at the College Basketball Experience at Sprint Center.
Welcome back to Hoopsville Courtside as we get ready for the first semifinal game, talking to the coaches, and now we're joined by Stephen Brennan, head coach for Babson, the 3-ranked team in the country, taking on the number 1 ranked team. If anything, this is one hell of a first semifinal.
Yeah, it's pretty exciting. I mean, I think we carried it for about 9 weeks or so, and they've carried it since, and I guess we'll find East versus West and see what happens on the other side.
You guys got to be excited, obviously making it back for the second time in 3 years. I know you would love to have been here 3 straight. It didn't work out last year, but what's it mean to be back here the second time in this program's history in just 3 years?
Yeah, I think it's amazing. It's been, I think I told you the other day when we talked, very euphoric 2 years ago. I mean, first time ever, and it's on your bucket list as a coach and as a player. I mean, you watch it on TV in terms of the D1. Well, we're D3. We have the same thing, and we want to have a great experience. So for us, it's been one of those deals where to get here the second time, I think we're much more locked in on the games and less about, what it means, and I think that it's really, if you look at the NCAA tournament, it's, 3 mini tournaments. Yeah. We're at the third one. We want to try and find a way to beat Whitman, on Friday, and that's all we're really thinking about.
You kind of hinted it there, the differences between the last visit and this visit. I kind of sense from articles I've read and talking to you guys were a little bit more, hey, this is awesome, we're here, or we have to play a game, whereas this time it's more like, no, we got a game to play, this is a business trip. Is that a fair representation?
Yeah, that was the first thing that Joey Flannery said at the end of the Elite Eight game. He said, hey, we got 2 more, let's go. You know, and I think a couple of years ago it was like, ripping down the goalposts if you beat Notre Dame at Notre Dame or something.
Very nice. That sounds about right.
Yeah.
Obviously a big foe in Whitman ahead of you, the undefeated team, as you pointed out. You guys traded number 1s here at the end of the season. Really not a style that I think anyone's really been familiar with. They're coming out of the West Coast, a little bit of an unknown. What have you seen on tape that you expect, and what do you see on tape that you're not sure how to handle?
I think their style of play is unique in the sense that, they play the 2-2-1 and they run a lot of run and jump out of it. They play it differently than most teams. A lot of teams play it as a shot clock defense. They play it as an offense. They're going to go after you. I think they average, over 20, turnovers a game, which is a credit to them and their effort. I think what people miss is that in the half court, they play closed wing deny and they play in front of the post. And, that's really another place that they're able to get turnovers. I think they got great hands on defense. There's a number of different guys. If you're not fundamentally sound with the ball, you're going to have a problem because they have great hands. And I think the other thing is they are relentless in ball pursuit. If the ball's on the floor, they're the first ones there. But even more so, they'll run you down from behind. So they give a credit to them because to play the style they play for so many minutes is really impressive. Because they bring a ton of energy and their talent level is very high. I think it's one of those things where the kid Howell reminds me a little bit of the kid Raheem Anderson we saw in the first against Husson. Two guys who can just light it up like crazy. They both got great quicks. They can go either way, and they can pull up and make plays. I think the kid Stewart, is kind of the unhidden gem in there. I think he gets a lot done. I think Harrison's very, very talented, and he's a lefty and gets to the rim, but he also shoots the deep 3. They have a number of different guys who can carry them for moments. They're really good in the dribble drive situation where they get into the paint and either they make the play or they get someone else to play, and they're all very confident, and you can just see it. They have that swagger, as when they play, it doesn't matter what the score is, they're in control, they believe they're going to win, and they have great conviction in how they approach the game.
How do you prepare for a team like that? I don't think there's really anybody on your schedule that has, maybe some little bits and pieces, but no one like that full unit. How do you prepare in a week for a team like that?
Yeah, I think it's more approach. You're not going to change what you do at this point. You won 29 games, so they have to deal with us too. Right. So I think it's a situation where for us, you got to look at the pressure and see how other people have dealt with it and see where maybe you could play to your strengths in terms of how that rolls out. And then in the half court, we play WPI, who plays deny, and they're very physical, and even Keene State, because Kane's a WPI disciple of Chris Bartley. Those are really physical, tough teams. So I think we've seen, like you said earlier, pieces of what they do. They remind me more of teams we had played a couple of years ago, that really get into you and go up and down. And the other thing about the press is they can play face deny too, where they just go and they put their back to the ball and they say, hey, let's see if you can get it in. Yeah. And we're going to speed you up. I think that's the biggest issue is can you have poise, and then can you jump stop and not get sped up so that you can make great plays, because there's opportunity at the end of the press if you beat it vertically.
So early in this game, as either a fan or somebody who's watching this game for the fun of it, what should we see that will let us know how you are doing, whether it's successfully or you're struggling? What should we key on?
I think that, do we beat their first line and then get into numerical advantage situations, whether it be, 4-on-3, 3-on-2, 2-on-1 situations, and then do we finish those, or do we start throwing the ball around the gym a little bit because A, the lights are pretty bright here, and B, because we get sped up. So I think, there's going to be some anxious moments no matter what. You have to kind of get to that first TV or media timeout. The media timeouts are a little bit longer, so you have a little bit more time to calm down if that's the situation. But on the other side is if we're, beating the press over the top and converting those situations, then obviously, hopefully, we're pretty comfortable at that point.
We're certainly looking forward to this game. It looks like it's going to be a fun one on paper, at least. How are your nerves at least a day in advance?
It's going to sound crazy, but you don't really think that much about it. We got practice in about 10 minutes, so we're just worried about practice right now. We just had a great community service event here, and the people in Salem have been tremendous so far. So, trying to stay in the moment. We tell our players to stay in the moment and not look forward or back, so you got to practice what you preach.
Absolutely. Well, good luck in the game. We appreciate you taking the time.
All right.
He is Stephen Brennan from Babson as we get ready for Hoopsville Courtside. When we come back, we give our final preview of this first semifinal game here from Salem.
College basketball lives in Kansas City at the College Basketball Experience at Sprint Center. The College Basketball Experience is the place to get your game on. It's not a museum, it's an experience you won't forget. Discover the history of the game in the National Collegiate Basketball Hall of Fame, featuring the Gallery of Honor, Mentor Circle, and Honor Theater. Suit up in the latest CBE logoed Nike gear at the CBE Hoop Shop. Elevate your game today and visit the house that college basketball built.
It's on us to stop sexual assault
in any way that we can.
To get a friend home safe.
To never blame the victim.
It's on us.
To stand up.
To make our community safe for all.
It's on us.
It's on us to look out for each other at parties.
It's on us.
To be more than just a bystander.
To step up and say something.
It's on us. All of us.
To stop sexual assault.
Learn how and take the pledge at itsonus.org.
It starts right when you hit the court. You imagine your finest moment. The game-winning shot that gets you to the dance. A monster dunk or no-look pass. And cutting down the net. Sports lets us dream of our own success. And prepare us for our finest moments on and off the court.
At George Fox University, our promise is that every student will be known, personally, academically, and spiritually. To be known means professors and staff know you by name. It means you're valued, encouraged, and challenged. It means we'll listen to you and with you as you pursue God's call in your life. At George Fox University, you will never be a number. You will be known. Visit georgefox.edu to learn more.
Defining moments. Championship dreams. Share the experience with your family and friends. The 2017 NCAA Division III Men's Basketball Championship, March 17th and 18th at the Salem Civic Center in Salem, Virginia. Visit ncaa.com/tickets for your tickets today.
Welcome back to the Hoopsville Courtside pregame show. Now getting a chance to talk to the coaches. We start with the number one ranked Whitman Blues, not because they're number one, because they're considered the visiting team, and it's just easier to keep the order that way. First and foremost, congratulations, as we said last week, on getting to Salem. The Northwest has, as it were, finally broken through, and for the West Coast, finally, after 35 years, have broken through again.
Thank you. It's magic. It's magic. We haven't really talked about that as a group. But a big picture, no, it's fantastic. For us, it's another week that we can be together and enjoy it.
Yeah.
And have the one-game schedule, and we're so excited to have a chance to be out here because we know it's rare. It's 35 years, so we're enjoying it.
We should mention Eric Bridgeley. I don't think I mentioned that coach's name. I know it's rivals in the Northwest, but have you heard from your fellow coaches or anybody about this?
Literally everybody, and not only in our conference but in the SCIAC as well. You know, cool. I think they all know the gravity of getting here and how difficult it is. And so, no, it's been nice. There's a great fraternity of coaches in the West and everywhere.
Oh,
so,
sure.
No, very, very thankful and for their communication that way, and blessings.
We should point out the team originally was planning to fly back to Walla Walla, changed the plans, and they stayed. But you still went back. You had some family business you wanted to attend to. Has the clock been okay? Have you been able to keep it
It's been great.
steady?
You know, they said you were the one that mentioned, "Are you guys going to stay?" You know, after I went on Saturday, it was like we hadn't even thought of that. You know, and thankfully you did, because maybe we'd have all gone back. So it was obviously a great move for the team. There's no way you would ever miss your son's 5th year, you know, his 5-year birthday, and so we soaked it up. We had a jumpy cast for $50. That was like the size of this room. It was crazy. $50. And then we had donuts with mom and dad the next morning before we went to school, and then hop back on the plane. So it was well worth it, and good to be back though too. You know, you don't want to leave your team too long. So back Monday night late.
They didn't give you orders of shirts and pants and all that stuff to bring with you back on the plane from the team, because they're a little short on clothing.
Yeah, no, you know, that was our biggest challenge, was laundry. What do we do with laundry?
Yeah.
You know, but our assistant coaches, Matt Airy and Alex Edwards, are gold, and they're so good at that stuff. I don't even think about it, but they're all over it.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, that's awesome. Let's talk about it a little bit. The fact you're taking on the team that you took over the #1 ranking from, Babson, at the end of the regular season, and you've been basically number 2 to them for 9 some odd weeks. This is the big battle, as it were, in terms of ranked teams in the semifinal. What have you seen on tape? What have you gotten to learn about the Beavers that you hope you can take advantage of, or concerns you?
We think they're really good. Everyone here has found a way to get here. Flannery.
Yeah.
He's the LeBron of Division III.
Yeah, that's good.
We have our special players too, but they are so good, and they're not a one-man band. They have other guys that can go and they board and they defend, and they win. You know, they win so many close games and games that are in doubt at halftime, and then they come out and they separate, and they're true champions. You know, so we recognize that, and we're excited to face another champion. You know, that's the greatest thing about our NCAA tournament, D3, is you're facing champions.
Yeah.
So for us, what champion, you know, we've been facing champions the whole way. Rhodes, Claremont, Hardin-Simmons, Rochester. I mean, you know, so we're so excited to play Babson. They're a great team. So it's like, how can you not be have exhilaration going through and going, this is awesome on the biggest stage.
Yeah.
So that's how we're viewing it, and that's how we view every game we're playing. Is this is it, one game schedule.
How hard is it to emphasize to the team that it isn't the Joey Flannery show? You hinted at it. He takes a lot of attention, but it kind of reminds me of a Michael Jordan back in the 90s during the heyday of the Bulls. You focus on him. There's a Steve Kerr or a Johnny Paxson to kick it to, or there's a Scottie Pippen or somebody. How hard is it to tell him, hey, you got to focus on him, but you can't lose track of everybody else?
I think through watching film, they recognize that they've got 6-7 guys that can really play, and guys that not only can really play, can score, can do multiple things, board, and find people, but they also know the roles. You know, they are such a great team, and great teams have multiple guys that can play within their roles.
Yeah.
And then that's Babson. You know, so we're well aware of that, and you know, quite frankly, our conference as well, playing the Whitworths and the Linfields, and through the course of 30 games, you get a feel that every team's got, you know, multiple weapons, and you know, how do you address all those? You can't focus on one guy. You know, Flannery would put that to the test because he's so good.
Yeah.
You know, but we're aware of that.
I was going to ask, is there anybody been on the schedule that you played, even in the tournament, that you can look at the tape of Babson and go, okay, hey, you know what they're doing reminds me of A or B or C, or is this a different team, kind of like you're a different team for them?
We draw, I think any successful coach draws parallels between the teams you're going to play and the teams you have played, because that's what resonates with the guys, you know. So Whitworth and you know, like Kenny Love is so important to Whitworth.
Sure.
You know, Flannery is so important to Babson, but there's Juliana for Whitworth. You know, there's Kyle Roach for Whitworth. You know, there's multiple guys like that for Babson. So we draw as many parallels as we can. We have our share of walk-it-up teams. Claremont, you know, they played walked it up, and not that they can't run, don't get me wrong.
No.
But so we're used to big physical teams that want a slower pace. Whitworth was like that too. They ran when they could, but So there's multiple parallels that we can draw, and we've been doing that.
Maybe this is a bad comparison, but it seems when I watch games that you're willing to either go with the other team's ideas and tempos or go with your own. And I compare that. Claremont Mud Scripps, they seem to control the pace a little bit. You talked about walking up the court a little bit. Even Rochester to some degree did that, but your pressure also disrupted that. But then Hardin Simmons, you absolutely from the get-go dictated how that game was going to be played. Is it a flexibility on your part, or is it even drive you crazy as a coach?
Well, when we played Claremont, we had just finished playing Rhodes, right? So we were on fumes for the first 10 minutes. I don't think we were going to press anybody or run. I had to call multiple timeouts and speak in different languages to get them to go, can we please pick it up? But I think we have the confidence to where if we play teams a certain way defensively, that we can also guard, and teams look at a pressing team and go, okay, well, can they really? We have a lot of confidence in our half-court defense as well. So it just depends on the team. Sometimes we change it up. We press, sometimes we don't, or it's full throttle like Hardin Simmons. So it just depends on the opponent.
Before we let you go, if we're watching this game, what should we key on to understand how you're doing early on, whether you're succeeding at what you want or you might have to make adjustments? What should be our keys as we watch the game?
They're a great rebounding team, I think. They don't get enough, not knowing all of Babson's history. They're a great defensive and rebounding team, and we got to hold our own on the glass, I think. Tempo, I think, is going to be important. We don't want a walk-it-up game. They probably do. Okay. For us, we're always better going up and down. So we're looking for tempo, and that's probably number one, and then the glass, those two things.
And then finally, you're here in Salem. Welcome to Salem. You've broken through. I know it's been a goal. Is it everything you've expected it to be? And you spent some time here now.
It's, it didn't even, when we won in the Elite Eight, it wasn't even, it didn't sink in then. Yeah. And I don't know if it's really sunk in now. We're just playing another game, and now there's more attention, there's more media and everything else. I don't know if that's affecting the guys, but I don't think we've been so Babson focused because it's our next opponent. And then that's one. Two, Salem. 4 years ago, we had an All-American, David Michaels, that made the D3 Hoops All-Star game, and so he and I came out, and it was magic when we were here, and the environment was spectacular. So I was always excited, boy, if we can make it out there, our team would really enjoy this community because they care about this event. It's obvious from so many different angles, and so I knew that it would be a wonderful experience for our guys, so we were excited to get here.
Well, congratulations on getting here. Good luck against Babson tonight. We're looking forward to the game.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. He's Eric Bridgeland from Whitman. When we come back, I talked to Stephen Brennan from Babson about these Whitman Blues. You're watching the Hoopsville pregame show from Courtside from Salem. Back with more after this.
Thanks.
Thank you, sir. Let me grab the mic from you.
Oh, yeah.
My name is Marcus Walker. I was All-State, won a state championship, a high school All-American, and played college and pro ball. I played because I love the game. I grind to be the best. I sweat because I put in work. I'm strong because I believe. When I want to bring it before game time, I come to the house that college basketball built, the CBE. No matter your skill, take it to another level. Elevate your game right here at the College Basketball Experience at Sprint Center.
And welcome back courtside here at the Salem Civic Center as we get ready for semifinal number one. Quick note, we will be on air between both semifinals, recapping quickly the first game and then looking ahead at the second one. And we'll be on the air post-game as well, plus pregame before the championship and post-game. I'm now joined by Charlie Brock, head coach at Springfield. Easy choice when we want to talk about Babson basketball. We got to talk to Charlie because he's played him a few times.
Second to Steve Brennan, maybe. But
yeah,
yes.
Maybe, right. Maybe the second. You're correct. This is a Babson team that's back for the second time in 3 years. Arguably was trying to make this a 3-year trip and could have done that. You play them enough times to know them, but also probably understand them probably better than anybody outside their program. What do they bring to the table that makes them so dangerous?
They are so balanced. It's really hard to break down that balance. And you can take away a couple of things, and then they find ways to bring on something else. And part of it's depth, and they've got 7 guys. They haven't played a whole lot of guys in the last couple of weeks. They haven't played big numbers, but they've gotten great balance out of them. Charlie Rice had a game, I think, last weekend where he was really outstanding. And, he's not somebody that someone would expect to come out with 20 points in a game. So, and that's what they bring. It's hard to break it down. And then they've always got the go-to guy. And I could talk about Joey Flannery a lot. He does so many things that are statistically obvious. But the other thing he does, and it's not on the statistics, is how great he makes the other guys around him. Good players that he makes much better players, because he's a great player.
So Whitman's a type of defense and a type of team that likes to get in your face and get aggressive. They like to play the entire court, 94 feet, 2-2-1. They'll even deny you trying to pass it in off of a made basket. They'll even throw that at you off a miss. They're going to make you work it up the court 94 feet. Has Babson seen a team like that? Can they go back into their season and go, you know, that's a lot like so-and-so. We've seen that. Or is this a little bit new for them?
They've seen the quickness that I think that Whitman's going to have, and I'm going a little blind here because I haven't seen Whitman and certainly not been able to study him. But I don't know that they've seen a 2-2-1, but they've seen just about everything and are capable of making adjustments. I'm sure Whitman is able to make adjustments to that which is adjusted to beat them too. If that's what they've done all year long, then they probably do it a whole bunch of different ways. But I think that one of the keys to Babson is that they really do a great job of taking care of the ball. They don't give up possessions. If they're able to do that, it's going to be a good game for them, and that'll help them to break down the pressure that Whitman's hopefully going to put on them, that Hopes have put on them.
Whitman likes to go up tempo, obviously off of turnovers. They force about 20 turnovers a game, and 12 of them are actually forced, I should say. 20 of them are turnovers. They like to go up tempo, get the transitional basket if they can, and lots of other opportunities. I get the feeling Babson doesn't mind maybe a little bit of tempo, but rather would play a half-court set. Is that a fair representation of the Beavers?
They can do both.
Okay.
They really are good. I think what we may find is if they get a little bit comfortable, they'll go over the top or break the press, and it could end up working to their advantage sometimes. As the game wears on is what typically takes place and fatigue sets in. How are they going to react in the last 8 minutes of the game with that pressure that's been going on for the last 32 minutes? So Babson passes the ball very, very well. They can't afford to have 20 turnovers in the game. There's no question about that. If they're able to take care of the ball and find people, they don't really have a great deal of structure in their offense. They do a great job of finding open men and distributing the ball, and they're really good on the offensive boards, and they're very good defensively. So they're not typically going to press, but they're going to play a great half-court defense, and they've got size, and rebounding is going to be another factor. They're an excellent rebounding team.
You bring up the defense, perfect transition. You know, this is a Whitman team everyone knows about Tim Howell. Certainly a flashy guard who likes to cut into the paint, put up floaters from 10 feet if he can, or get to the rim. If you forget about him, though, or if you concentrate too much on him, there's Aaron Butler on the other side who can shoot from outside and a little bit more physical, a little bit more of a physicality kind of guard, where Tim's a little more of a finesse guy. What does Babson do well defensively to deal with fast guards and maybe guards who want to penetrate a lot? Are they a pack-in type of defense, or are they an aggressive get in your face and we'll cover the three-point line defense?
Actually, and I may be speaking out of turn, I don't think they care too much. They don't concern themselves that much with matchups. They'll switch a lot to the point that there's been games, and I saw one time in Amherst where Jax was on a guard for a period of time because it was a switch that took place. They've got that. They contain. They definitely don't sag off, but they cover up for each other really, really well, and they're always in a great position to rebound.
When you look at this game, it might be high scoring. We look at the bench, and Whitman loves to go to their bench. They will sub on every horn if necessary. Every whistle, they will bring a guy or two guys or three guys in. Babson, you talked about it's been banged up a little bit, but how deep can they be?
Well, they've gone 7 deep. And most of that was without their point guard back, and it sounds like he's able to play. Whether or not he will, I don't know. Lowry is their backup point guard during the course of the early part of the season, and he's played a ton more. During that stretch, they went 7 deep. If the point guard's back, Bowman, he's back, they can go 8 deep, but they're not going to go deep. They're not going to look at going deep in the bench. That could be an advantage, disadvantage. Some like that there's a rhythm created with an 8-man rotation. Others like that somebody's playing 10 guys and they can constantly have high energy. So, you know, it's all about the team and the focus and the little battles that have to be won during the course of the game that are always field goal percentage, rebounds, and fouls.
And before I let you go, how do you think this game plays out?
Boy,
I know you don't know a lot about Whitman, but
I
just
don't know much about
sense.
Whitman, but I know a lot about Babson, and they're extremely difficult to beat if they play well, and that would be indicated by a balanced scoring attack, taking care of business on the defensive glass, and turnovers. If they don't have turnovers, they're going to be tough to beat.
Very good. He is Charlie Brock, head coach of Springfield, knows Babson pretty darn well. I got a chance to see Whitman over the weekend at Marietta, so I feel like I know him a little bit. We're going to get ready to get to the game. I got to go call it, so we're going to sign off this broadcast. Appreciate you tuning in. We'll be on between games to recap this one and look ahead at game number 2, Williams versus Augustana. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. Hope you enjoyed it. We'll be back between both games. Enjoy it on NCAA.com. You can find the links on D3Hoops.com. See you later.